Bensly Melody Lab.
Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm very happy that you're here and I'm happy to be here too. So here we talk about music. We teach you music from scratch. You don't actually need any instruments to learn music. Music is something you can do without knowing how to play any instrument. And if you know music, if you'll be able to learn music from scratch, knowing the intricacies and every fundamentals concerning music, you'll be able to actually learn how to play any instrument very easily this time. I'm a saxophonist and I learned saxophone with my knowledge of music, so it was easy for me to be able to learn saxophone when the time came. So here we're teaching you music and teaching you the fundamentals of music so that you'll be able to understand music, know how to sing, understand songs, and also be able to play instruments of your choice. If you'll be following my channel, this is the 4th episode, and this one we were talking about sharps and flats. If you follow the last episodes we've had, we've talked about what is music and we've talked about musical alphabets and all that. So today we are getting into something that really starts expanding your musical world, which is what we call sharp and flats. So here's the thing. If you've ever looked at the piano, you might have noticed the white and the black keys on it. You'll be wondering, what are these things called and what do they do? What do they represent? Now I'm here to tell you that the black keys you see there, either sharpen or flatten the note. So they are either called the sharp or the flat. So whenever you see the piano, you'll be able to identify the different work of the notes there, the white and the black. Let's go further. If you want to actually know how these things work, we have to break down this knowledge into little pieces for you to understand. What is a sharp sign, or what is sharp? A sharp, usually written like this, raises a note by a half step. So now in music there are steps, half step and there are full steps. So now half steps are actually when a sharp sign or a flat sign either raises or lowers the note. So in this case we're talking about sharp. So a sharp sign raises the note by a half step. For example, let's look at the note C on the keyboard. There's a black note just next to it, and that is a sharp of that note, meaning the black key raises the note C by a half step, and that is why it is called the C sharp. So it's the note C sharp. Here we understand that the sharp sign or the sharp note raises the note by a half step, like going from C to a C sharp. Now even in sound, you will notice that the sharp note raises the sound too a little bit higher. So it's like moving up half a step. So when the note C is sounded and you play the C sharp, the sound is going to go up a little bit. That is why it is called the sharp. Now we'll go to the flat. What is a flat? Flat, usually written like this, also lowers the note by a half step also. So the sharp raises and the flat lowers. So the way we raised the note by a half step by using the sharp sign, so we can actually lower the note by a half step using the flat sign. And also it's still represented by the black notes on the keyboard. So the black notes either sharpens or lowers depending on the particular notes that is being played. So we took C for example. When we go to the next half note, it is the C sharp. So when we go to another key that has a black key below it, it's also is the flat of that note. Taking for instance, we go to D. The note D on keyboard, the note just before it flattens that note D. That is why it is called the D flat. Even in sounds too, it lowers the pitch a bit, just slightly, a half step. Now there's something that blew my mind when I look at these things. You see the black notes on the keyboard, right? You can see that they either sharpen or flatten the notes. For instance, one black key can sharpen a note, and that same black key can flatten a note. And if you check, the sound is the same, but they are named differently. For instance, we're talking about C sharp, D flat. We can see that that particular black key, like you can see, is either sharpening C or flattening D. It is the same note, the same sound, but having two names, right? So meaning that both of them can actually be used. Now this one black note that is having the same sound but different namings, it's called the enharmonic equivalent because they are having two names but the same sound. This happens all over the keyboard. Like we have the F sharp and G flat. We have the A sharp and B flat. Same key, different name. And like you can see the different other notes that's having this enharmonic equivalent we're talking about. So they're actually all over the keyboard playing their different roles. Why does this matter? You agree with me that they play a very tangible role in music and music creation, because with the sharp and the flats, which are the half steps that we say in music, it helps us to accommodate every kind of sound in music. That is why you see anything that is sounded actually have a note it represents, right? So because if we go with the white keys alone, it will actually make music very boring, and there will be missing notes that we can actually identify on the musical alphabets. So with this sharp and flat, we are able to accommodate every sound that occurs in music, and also it makes music fuller. That's why we see some instrumentalists when they play with the whole sharp and flat notes, you see the music is more full than when you play only the white notes. As time go on, we'll tell you what all these things are called in general terms, like the scales and the rest. But for now, we are taking music step by step, so you'll be able to understand it. When you follow my channel, you'll be able to understand music from scratch, step by step. You will not need to rush it. You'll be able to understand it bit by bit. So when you follow me and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also click on the notification bell, you'll be able to get every video that we're going to post, and it will take from now to months to come, because we're going to be explaining music from scratch, step by step. Let us throw more terms that will come in handy later. We've mentioned the half step, which is the flat, the sharp sign, and also I mentioned that there's also what is called the whole step, or the full step. So the half step and the whole step. And what is the whole step? The whole step is two half steps. So let's say two half steps make up a whole step, and that is why you see when you go from one note to the other full note. For instance, you go from C to D, it's a whole step. You go from D to E, it's a whole step. E to F is a half step, and F to G is a full step. So the full step is actually two half steps. So C to C sharp, half step. C sharp to D, half step. Or C to D, full step or a whole step. If this is making sense, please do well to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, comment, also click on the notification bell so that any other video we're going to be posting, because this is a series we're making, you'll be the first person to get it. Thank you. Alright, let us recap quickly. Sharp raises a note by a half step, flat lowers it by a half step also, and we'll talk about the whole step, which is the two half steps, either flat or sharp. So some notes have two names, like we've mentioned, and those notes are called the enharmonic equivalent, or we call them the enharmonics, right? So, and together sharp and flat fill the full picture of the musical scale, unlike only the white keys or the white notes that make it either boring or unfull kind of. So in our next episode, we are putting it all together. We'll build our first scale in C major. We'll put everything we've learned from the first episode up to this next episode. We'll put them together to build our first scale. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for hanging out with Bensly Melody Lab. And I beg you once again, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and click on the notification bell so that you'll be the first person to get the videos when we post them. Thank you very much for this episode. See you in the next episode. Thank you.